Hey, what's up guys? Back with another video. It's DJ Troy 23 with another tutorial. This time we're going to go over the buying and selling techniques that you're going to need on the Robinhood app. A lot of the things I'm going to be discussing today is just a lot of the things that we were talking about before, just a little bit more in depth. This time I'm going to bring you through the step-by-step instructions on how to buy and sell stock on the Robinhood app. Just to let you know that everything that I'm doing here is completely pro bono. I'm not taking any money for anything, and I'm not, this is just for pure people that are looking to get into and interested to get into the Robinhood app. If you are looking to subscribe to my channel, please subscribe at DJ Troy 23 on Instagram, on YouTube, and also my Patreon account. I really do appreciate it. Helps me make more videos like this. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the Robinhood app. I'm going to have little pictures on the side just to let you know what's going on my phone as I'm doing this. But to set it up, it's much like setting up any account that you have currently that you're looking to do with any emails or any information that you need to put in to set up an account. Simple passwords. I use my Face ID to access into my account any single time I need to. It's very intuitive to get that. You're gonna have to set up a separate checking account number. Now I say this only because it's good to have a separate account that you can have funds to deposit into the Robinhood app instead of using your main account to fund that money in there. Like I said from before, you can start as small as you want. We're starting very simple today. We're not doing anything massive, even though I will describe a couple different stocks that I have bought during this week that's giving me a good return. One of the things is that it does also help out setting up a different checking account. It does help out setting up away from the temptations you might get from early returns. They might be good. Some of them might have gotten you a little bit more. You want to buy more stocks, stay to a simple month-to-month plan and have a idea from the beginning and set goals for yourself that you can eventually, with that capital investment, grow on that. So a majority of what we're going to be talking about today is growth stocks. And from the beginning of the app, you'll see at the actual beginning of when you're starting to do your trading, you have set up the app, you can see a tracking of your overall portfolio over time. So much of what I'm posting is week by week basis, sometimes month by month basis of money I've made overall on my portfolio. So it's going to be one of those things that you're going to have to work on seeing what your overall growth is going to be. Most of the time I say it's good to have 5% of growth over a week. You can shoot higher than that, but the bare minimum that you want to have with the portfolio so it'll grow over time is 5%. And you'll see that once you click onto the app, and you'll see that you'll actually have the day, the week, month, 3 months, and a year all the way out. I've only been trading for a couple of months, so I can only see at least 3 to 4 months ahead of what my initial investment was. But right now, currently, I'm at around 5% for the past week, 0.01 for the first month this month, and then for the past 3 months it's at around 8.87% for a $65 return on my initial investment. So that's good. That's something I was looking to aim for, and it was one of my goals, looking to set this thing up. So once you set up your funds, it does have its tax implications. So one of the things you're gonna have to look into is your state's local tax laws when it comes to trading and everything like that, because you will have to provide some information that you can file the taxes at the end of the year for your stock. But one of the things is that the capital gains tax, which is any tax that typically is going to be around 10% of what the taxes is going to be, being taken out from the initial profit that you're getting. So say for example you buy a stock, it grows, it's around $5 higher, you're going to be paying 10% on that if you were within that tax bracket, or you're within one of those states that has one of those capital gains tax. But right now, for the time being, I'm not looking at any serious capital gains tax issues in my state. And one of the things we're going to be discussing is like the differences of the different stocks that you can have that could really help you out over time. But taxes is one of the things you're going to have to really keep an eye on and pay attention to, because you're going to really need to have Uncle Sam get his money at the end of the day. So one of the things we can go into next is the differences of the different types of stocks that you can have. There are, certain buzzwords like blue chip stocks and penny stocks. I'll go through a quick rundown of what the different stocks are. Blue chip stocks are typically companies with an excellent rep and good earnings. The dividend stocks, they provide a stream of income in the form of dividends. That's a certain, say, royalty that's being paid back for owning the stock every single month. I do have a couple of stocks that do pay dividends, and I'll explain that in just a second of what it'll be. I've actually gotten a dividend back from one of my stocks, and it's been great. Pennies on the dollar, but anything is better than nothing. So you also have your growth stocks that have high growth rate with increasing cash flow. So those are a lot of the stocks we're going to be talking about today, and working with building your portfolio first, because that's a stock that I was saying from the first video you have to grow with, and one of those stocks that you have to understand it'll get its more value over time. Even though the stock market goes up and down, you can have growth with these sense of stocks. Defensive stocks, they have a low correlation to the overall stock market, so the overall stock market doesn't really affect these stocks that heavily. And then you have cyclical stocks, cycle stocks, that companies, their success follow the flow of the economic cycle. So your airlines, your cruise ships, at times can be volatile and up and down at times, but nothing that you want to shy away from. So going into buying your first stock, one of the things is in the Robinhood app, it's very, very intuitive. All you have to do is when you set up your first account, you get a default list of all stocks that are available to buy. You can buy any stock, you just have to look up its stock ticker, which are the 3 letters or symbols that they have on the NASDAQ. One of the things about these stocks you have to realize is that they have their prices set in green. When they're green, that means they're on a growth, I would want to say swing, but their value is good for the time being right now. Red for the other stocks don't really mean that it's a bad stock to buy. It just means that its value ended lower than it originally began at the beginning of the last trading day. So when you have that in mind, buying your first stock is looking at those prices. I would say for the first week at least before starting your trading is to start glancing and taking your research, everything we said from the first video of doing your research, knowing what companies you want to find and researching their stock tickers, so you can end up seeing what you need to do when you initially want to buy. So buying your first stock, for example, we'll look at Coca-Cola over here for real quick. Right now, it's in the green. I do have a stock in that, and when we scan down the list, we'll see different stats on the overall stock. But we're going to go onto the trade tab. We're going to go to buy, type in 1, and then once you review the stock, you can review it. You can have enough buying power once you invested that initial money that we talked about at the beginning. That is your buying power. That is your cash to be made to buy it. Okay. So once you buy the stock and you review it, it gets set, for opening of the market day. We're early today, so, it won't go in until at least around 8:30. Once that's done, you will have your first stock, and you have it. Now the hard part is over. You will sit there, watch the market go up and down. Hopefully by the end of the day, you'll see a little bit of growth. Sometimes it's cents. Sometimes it's $1, sometimes it's $2, but that is the purpose of getting started, so you can see the money initially grow. Sometimes it goes a little bit down, sometimes it goes a little bit up, but the fact of the matter is you bought your first stock. So with buying your first stock, you want to stick to the fundamentals. You want to buy low, so that's why I say research beforehand, see how things are going for the time being, and just buy low when you see the price point of the overall stock being that low. You want to keep learning about the company and its practices. Is it ethical? Do you like it? Are their products, long lasting and affordable to you? Do they have loyalty programs to keep their customers? You want to figure out your budget and stay focused on a lot of those things, because those are things that'll give you a nice bit of return over time. Like I said, the growth stocks are there so you can grow it over time and grow with your portfolio over time. when and how to sell. One of the things that we can go into is selling, but I wouldn't suggest selling in your first couple months of trading, just because you want to get a feel of how much money you're willing to lose. There are always risks in trading, and your initial investment might devalue over time if you don't really pay attention to it as much. At first, when I did do my initial investments, I saw a rise and I saw a fall. I call it taking an L. So my L's are typically one of the things where I'll say, I've lost this amount of money, but I know it's going to rebound if I tweak it a little bit. And a lot of the tweaking that happens with your portfolio is minimizing the risk and diversifying your stock portfolio. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but that is one of the big things you want to start off with at first, just so you can limit the amount of risk and the up and down fluctuations of your portfolio over time. But selling, same thing as buying. You're going to hit the trade button, you're going to hit sell, and then you're going to see how many shares that you have. Once you put in the amount of shares that you will sell, the market price is the price that is set either when the market opens or during the market. These are all really things where you want to take into account once you're a little bit more versed in stock trading. One of the things I've done is slightly similar to a bit of day trading, of buying and selling within the same day. There are limitations to selling when you are recognized as a day trader. Day trading is typically buying and selling the same stock for a profit. If you do that, I believe 4, maybe 5 out of 5 days, you are noted as a day trader. And those are one of the things you want to avoid in the first go, because there are certain requirements, certain certifications, certain things you have to go through to become a day trader. One of the things I'm looking into, but it is one of those things you want to look at and not sell immediately any of your stock that you're looking to grow. If it's one of the more volatile stocks, like I said from before, like airline stock, you can buy 5, see it rise up, and then once you see it rise up and go on a little bit of a downswing, don't really go by feelings. I typically go with my gut and my intuition, but don't really go by feelings of how the market is performing. Watch it, see how it's performing, make your own judgment calls, and sell when it makes the most sense to you. So that leads into the next points of limiting the risk and diversifying. So once you go into the app and start seeing the different stocks and the different stats that they have, we're going to see that on top of everything, you're going to see the amount of money that you originally put in, the amount of money you made of gain or lost over time. The portfolio diversity is the most important point, because that shows you the overall balance of your portfolio. So when you have a balance in your portfolio, the ups and downs of each stock isn't going to affect the overall growth. So that goes back to what I was saying from before. If you'll see some of my posts where the stock is showing in red, it's not hurting me in a massive way. It's one of the fluctuations I was talking about, that from the other ones that are showing green, and because their weight in the share of my portfolio is a little bit heavier, they balance out some of the quote-unquote losses. So those are one of the things you want to look at. I typically want to start off with a stock that I can keep 10% of diversity in my portfolio. What do you want to aim for is at least 3 to 5% in your portfolio of how much of diversity is going on there. And you can do that by buying more smaller stock to raise it, and then also selling or not having as much heavier stock on the higher end that is taking up as much. Just balance it out, get it low, and you'll see a better risk management on your portfolio. The other thing I wanted to talk to you in more depth is dividends. These are the stocks that typically will come from blue chip stocks. Your blue chip stocks, like I said from before, your Nikes, your Apples, your Microsofts, Netflix, a lot of reputable companies, McDonald's, a lot of the companies that you end up seeing a lot, those are the companies that pay you back over time. Every single time they have an earnings, or every time during a quarter when they post good earnings, they'll give you about a certain amount back in dividends, which you'll see in the Robinhood app. And I'll bring that tab up in just a second, of where you'll see the dividends of how much they'll give back to you. If we take a look at my Nike stock, which I'm so happy that I purchased recently with current upswing. So earlier in the week, I had a current upswing of around $160 just based off of the strength of my portfolio. And in that, I was able to sell some stock and use that money to buy my first blue chip stock, which is Nike. That gives me a dividend yield of 0.98. And depending on what the dividend yield is in this tab, it can, be a calculation of how much stock you have and how much royalty you'll get back from owning that stock. So let's say if Nike does well out of this situation and I hold on to it for at least 60 days, you have to hold on to a stock for at least 60 days to get paid a dividend. Then you'll be able to get a certain amount of money back that you can use to buy more stock, which typically is a good idea to reinvest your dividends or take the cash and pocket it yourself. So this isn't an intent to make money, but there are ways you can make money on the stock using dividends. So every single time I do say this, it is so very important to research. I'm starting something up called Troy's Research Tips. So these are little companies I might see that are currently doing okay. I might feel like they're doing all right, so I might give you a nice little tidbit on the company and their current stock price, and you take for the information what it wills. Whatever you decide to do is your decision. I have, for my current research tips, Estee Lauder. It's a big makeup company. They're in everywhere. Every single store you can imagine, you can see ads for them. You can see different things where once we get back into the full swing of things, it'll be a higher value of a stock just because people are buying more again. So I'd wait. Currently, as this video is being recorded, it's at 192, I believe, but I'll wait. It's one of those things I'll wait for a lower price and I can get that. To me personally, I'm pretty happy about seeing the Airbus stock ticker, EasyJet, and Ryanair. Ryanair just announced that they are looking to start up 1,000 flights starting July 1st, I believe. Either June or July 1st, I'm not too sure, but I do know Ryanair does not play when it comes back to flying. All right, and then also Sony Ericsson was another one that I found. Sony Ericsson works with a lot of chips in the iPhones. We do obviously have another iPhone coming out this year, so that's another stock I want to watch. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, anything, please leave a like, comment down on the bottom of my YouTube video. I have the links. I have everything there for anybody that's looking to sign up for my Patreon page. And well, I guess this should end it again. Next videos are going to be coming up. Hopefully we can get some music tutorials going, some flying tutorials going. I know a lot of my pilot friends want to get into those discussions, and whatever comes my way coming into this next year. So let's just hope for the best. Stay safe. Once again, it's DJ Troy 23. Peace.